Good morning, Dave Snyder here. It is, I do believe, the 9th of July, 2015. Okay, so I was watching a video last night on YouTube, of course, and they were talking about this Ring of Fire. The Ring of Fire. Why would they call this the Ring of Fire when we already have a Ring of Fire, right? I mean, that's kind of you gotta wonder about those kind of things when they do that. I mean, the Ring of Fire. And plus, even if we didn't already have a Ring of Fire, why in the hell would you call that a Ring of Fire? I mean, there's something to that. That's kind of scary in a way. Why would you call it the Ring of Fire, man? That's just kind of scary to me. I mean, if I lived in that area, I'd be wondering what the hell are they talking about? Ring of Fire, right? And I don't even live there, and I wonder that. But anyways, as soon as I seen that, I knew why they call it the Ring of Fire. I know why they call it that, the Ring of Fire. I'm pretty sure I know. Because this area has been at the Ring of Fire, just like every continent. We have to understand, people, or already do understand, but people need to understand that the continents have not even been where they are today only. They have moved around so much. You can put the Earth together in so many different configurations, it's not even funny. If these are the actual way the continents look, the land looks on the Earth, there's a lot of different configurations of the supercontinent besides the one they tell you in the books or whatever, okay? Totally. Okay, so anyways, the weather pattern here yesterday, I saved a picture of it, and I've saved a lot of weather patterns from this area in the past. A couple years ago, I've showed this a couple years ago, actually, parts of it anyway. But there's some new stuff in this. So, anyways, the Ring of Fire. So the other day, a friend, was looking at this area and asking about a convergence line and stuff like that. But like 2 days before that, I was already working on something in this area with the before I even knew it was the Ring of Fire. I just figured that out or learned that last night. I didn't even know they were calling it that because I don't watch the news. You know what I mean? I just look at the weather myself, which sometimes I get caught off guard. But anyways, here's the weather yesterday. This is weather yesterday. And here's that line. See the line here? It goes in different places. The weather moves a little bit. Sometimes it'll be here, and I'll show you a couple other pictures from like a couple years ago at least one from a couple years ago. But anyways, what you see here is this line right here. See this? We'll get to the Ring of Fire thing in a second. But you see this line with this little curve at the top? Okay, well that right there it relates to this to the Red Sea, where the Red Sea was split at one time. I said that 2 years ago, and I'm sticking with it, right? Because you'll see in a second. But anyways, this goes here like this along the Red Sea. See that how it's curved? Got that little curve at the top right here. Okay, I use this picture because this is what you want. You don't want to use Google Earth images because they don't show you anything in there. Or Google Earth, they do show you some things, but I mean it's just basically for I don't know, it's bullshit, most of it. Okay, so you see that line with that curve. Okay, so I brought up this other picture. It was already up here last night when I was doing this and when I mentioned it, but it was already up here. But it was over here somewhere. I just put this picture up yesterday because it was weather from yesterday. But the other picture I had up a couple days ago, and it was up in a different place. It's this one here, but it was over here somewhere, lined up to something else. But what I did is I brought this picture up and I aligned that line. See the little curve? This is the little curve at the top. I just aligned it to this picture that's here in America. And you can see that the continent is not even in the same place, right? But the line is in the same place. Okay? And what happened, I couldn't see Africa when I did that. I could not see Africa because this picture right here was in the background and I couldn't see where it was going to end up in Africa. All I wanted to do was align that picture to that line right there the best I could. And I can see kind of this shape right here. See the line? You can see a kind of a line here, right? So then I took this picture away, like this, and then I looked at this over Africa. Okay, wow, that's pretty interesting, to say the very least. Falls right into that little corner there, really good, really nice, right? Okay, it could be coincidence. It could be, but I showed this like 2 years ago. This picture's 2 years old. Look at the date on it. Okay, 2 years old. So the weather does move, but it's still coming from the same place. The same place on Earth somewhere. anyways, that line right up there just like that. Okay, now look at this. Look at the white weather there, the cloud, and there's another line there too. You can see right here, it comes down this way, and it basically fills that in. See that? I'm not saying it's perfect aligned or anything. That just, like I said, that put itself in that place. I just lined it to the other picture. So moving on, back to the other picture again. So what we have here is this weather pattern confirming something. Okay, so a couple years ago I pointed out that where the Yucatan Peninsula is, where you look at Mexico, right here, this little V right here, see that V? I pointed this out back then, that if you put that right, the V right here in Mexico, if you put that right here, see that V? Okay, those go together. At one point in time, they go together somehow. Either they were created in the same place at different times, or they were on top of each other. One of the two. It's something. It's one or the other. That's the only. Unless, no, it's one or the other. If this is the real Earth, okay. So, anyways, here's that picture again, and I'm going to move it to line that up a little bit. This V, I have to kind of. Actually, you'll see what I do here. There's a V in the weather right here that I'm going to use to kind of guide me. That I didn't even see until after I was already doing this, but there we go, get that. Like right in there, you see where Mexico would be, like right here somewhere. See it? It'd be like right here, something like that. I'll get it in there. But see, what I could do to get it perfect, or not perfect, but get it close, and you can see this line, look at this right here. That's there too, but watch. What I can do is I can just go up here, and see this curve here? See that curve? That curve goes right around this mountain range right here. Just goes right around it. If I just adjust that right in there, like so. I thought it went with this one at first, but it's this one here. Goes with that one. Like that. And maybe a little more this way to get that big mountain right there on that yellow spot, because that's what would have created the yellow spot on that area. Or you know what I mean. Okay, and then what you see is this line, the V, look at that V, point right into that delta right there. See that? Wow. And then you see the shape of this, and I'm going to show you another picture. I noticed this the other day too, the serpent, I'm going to call it the serpent head, this part of Africa, right here, this thing, I don't know why, or call it something like that. Got the eye, and this all over the place too. The shape is all over the place. I mean, you can see that it would be, because look at how defined it is right there. It's like an obvious, familiar, something you can recognize shape. Okay, so now we have the V in Mexico. Look at it, my screen blink. They're just snatching my pictures. Okay, so that's all lined up. You see that little point come in right here. That's in the right place. And we're going to get to the Ring of Fire in a minute. Just hang on a minute. Okay, so that's there, and then look at this curve. See this curve in the weather right there? That beautiful line of weather. Look at Africa, right here. Have you ever seen that before? I've seen it many times. There's like a big circle right here, like a Schrodinger print, right in the center of Africa. I mean, I've seen it since the beginning of doing this. I've been trying to, Schrodinger will go there, but you can see that, right? That's right there. That all goes together. This circular shape all fits in there. You see that? That's because they were either on top of each other, which is kind of unlikely. I would imagine people would think that, and I kind of think that too. But it's not out of the question. If the moon was hitting the Earth, like I point out all the time, which this has everything to do with the moon, people. I don't care. You can think what you want, but the moon is what led me to all this. Okay, it's what led me to all of this. It started all this. So I mean, if without it, I would never even have gotten to this point. Not even close. I would have never even started. But anyways, now we have the curve. We have this curve. We have this lining up right here, and the serpent head is there. I'm going to show you that right now. So I'm just going to save that. Turn off this one now. We've seen that's there, and like right here where Florida is. Look where it ends up. Right in Saudi Arabia, right? It would be in Saudi Arabia, right here where I showed it. How many times in the past? I don't know. 2 years ago at least, I was showing it right there, Florida. The shape of Florida is like right here. See, there's like that. There's the point right here. Comes this point. You know what I mean? It's either create one hot spot is creating continents similar, with a similar shape to the one that created before that or something, or they were on top of each other. That's the only thing I can think. They were drifting over hot spots that were creating continents that were alike in certain ways, not completely, but in certain ways, or they were on top of each other. The on top of each other thing is interesting because you got to look at the different kind of layers of rock in these places. This is like a desert with a lot of sand. Then you have North America that's a lot of rock and stuff like that. So you got to think about that layering thing. It's something you got to consider. But anyways, back to this. So we got that. That all puts itself back in place, just like I said 2 years ago. The weather's showing it yesterday. The line is there. Can't deny that. This serpent puts itself right here, and I call that the serpent head. And I just noticed it the other day, and there's the eye. I think that's the eye, or right here it might be the eye. Yeah, there it is. And you can see it's a little lower. Maybe this is the eye. It probably shows itself in more than one spot in the weather, but I mean, how weather is kind of weird that way. But you can see the shape of it. If I move this, and I'm just gonna move it because it doesn't make any difference if I move it or not. I'm just gonna move it up there, and you can see that it puts itself together that way. Look. Whoa, coincidence? Not even close to coincidence, people. It puts the puzzle together. It just continues to do this all by itself. I'm not like looking for these things. I didn't look for this. This just fell into place. I noticed it the other day as I was putting this together. I said, whoa, hey, look at that. There's the serpent falls right in that spot. I better check that. There's Mexico right there. And look, it's really close. I just moved it. That's why it's not on there right now. But there it goes right in there. Something like that, right? Confirms it. So I'll just cancel all that and turn that off. Okay, so getting to the Ring of Fire now. The other day, I was on USGS's website. I was curious to know how many earthquakes they have in Africa. So I turned on the USGS map, and I put it on I set it for the last 30 days, 2.5 and larger. This doesn't show Africa, but in Africa, what came up was like 3 little 2.5s right here, all around that gold mine. So that could be that, or it could be these faults, big faults that are here. But considering how many faults are in this area and this is probably some kind of fault, and there's a lot of stuff in Africa, and I'm not even sure if they even have sensors all over Africa. So maybe that's why too it didn't show much. It didn't show anything in Africa but those 3 spots. And in 30 days there was nothing but those 3 little spots of earthquakes. So it's either really stable or they don't have any kind of seismographs or whatever in the ground all over or something. Anyways, okay, so then I looked at Japan, that picture, the same map, and I was looking at Japan, excuse me, this way, and I decided I should save that and put it over, like I've been showing in my other videos lately, Japan, where I say it goes in the big hole there next to Africa. So I saved this picture of Japan, and I put it like in the same place I showed the other day in those other videos. Interesting thing happened when I did that, and I noticed looking at it, first of all, was these 2 lines that are parallel to each other, this one here and this one here, and they both have a curve at the top, very similar curve at the top. See that? That could be nothing, maybe not. It's never nothing. I mean, it's always something. So anyways, what I did, now I got to move this back because I got to do 2 different adjustments on this one, and it doesn't change anything. That's just watch here. Okay, so that curve, remember the weather pattern? Okay, I'm gonna put that there, and then there's these 5 little earthquakes right here. I figured they probably went right around this circle here, so I put those together, and I'll do that real quick. Put the 5 little earthquakes in the eye right there. See that right around the circle, and then I just kind of move this a little bit like that, and there is our fault line, Ring of Fire, edge of the Ring of Fire, or the Marianas Trench, right? I think that this was the Red Sea was basically split by that area. I mean, the Marianas Trench is the deepest place on Earth. Something was there at one time. It was not just a big hole all the time. That something was there at one time that created there by a supermassive volcano that was in that hole. Something hit the Earth there. You got to wonder, because something, they say a planet hit the Earth. People never talk about where it hit the Earth. I'm trying to bring that out into the open, because why not talk about it? It's interesting. I mean, it's more interesting than most of the shit that I've seen on documentaries, and they never talk about it. So let's talk about that for a minute. There's the Marianas Trench, and you look at it, it's got a big circular shape right around it, and it's got the deepest place on Earth right in the middle of it. So that must be something important, I would imagine. Well, there's your fault line with the curve at the top. Okay, so and then you stand back and look at it, and you can see, wow, Africa kind of fits there in the Pacific pretty well. It looks like, it could be there. And then you look at Japan, like I've been pointing out lately. Japan being in the big hole. This is like an edge of an impact here, people. This is like and with a volcano right here in the middle afterwards. You know what I mean? The moon rested here at one time. It was the moon. Okay, I'm going to show you in a minute. So anyways, after I got that put in place, and I was like, okay, that's where the Red Sea probably broke off right there. That's why we got that big straight fault line break right there at the Red Sea. I'm guessing, but I'm sure I'm right. You know what I mean? I know I am. But here you go. This right here goes like this. And then after I did that, I brought up, Mare Oriental. And look, Japan's still in this. It's still right next to the hole, pretty close. It's not in the same exact place, but it's still in the area, in the neighborhood. It will be in the right place in a minute. So then I brought up Mare Oriental, which is important because it fits with that Africa picture, and it never moves. It's all set. All this stuff is set in place. Never moves. I brought this picture up, and when I did that, I was like, oh wow, Japan kind of is out of place. But I noticed this shape right here. See, like this Y shape right here? It goes into like a Y, right? And I noticed the same thing was kind of going on right here, right? Well, I can't move my Mo picture. That never moves. I don't ever touch that. No freaking way. So I got to take this one and do just a little bit of adjusting. Not much. Little turn. Just put it back where I had it just a minute ago. I got to bring Mo back up, don't I? Oh, yeah. Hold on a second. Bring it back, Mo. I forgot. Come on. Okay. So bring that up. Bring the other one to the top. I'll just adjust it to this, and it'll just fall in place. Okay, so what I did is I wanted to, I was really just trying to put Japan into the claw print of mistakes right here. I wanted to just get Japan along that curve right there. See that? How it's got that curve. And it looks like it goes the other way, like this is the tip of Japan or something, but it doesn't go that way. It doesn't fit that way very well. Or it might, I don't know. I haven't done it for a while, so you could probably do that too. But what you see in this moon picture, remember this moon picture was already in place. So was Africa. I don't move Africa either. It's in the perfect spot, and this one's in the perfect spot. They never move. And I'm doing all this other stuff on a totally different day, just the other day, right? And I turn this on and I see it like this. I see that this picture, after lining it up all to the to the Marianas Trench and all that, I see that it's pretty damn close to that. And then I see this curve on the moon. You see the curve right here on the moon picture? And then you see this curve in the Ring of Fire. Well, all I did was kind of bump that over a little bit like this. I just kind of brought it like that. There's Japan right there. See Japan? Okay. It's right in that little area, right where I was shooting for. Actually, I like it a little bit better like this, where that center of the sea Japan has that spot in it, which I have seen in the weather, without a doubt. Oh, I don't know, 50, 60 times at least. This spot in the weather with absolute perfection. First, you see the curve in this claw print with all the little holes in the weather. They don't really show it much anymore. The way that the weather is today, the way they show the weather format pictures or whatever, it doesn't really show that as well as it used to. It used to be a lot more defined, but you could see that in the weather all the time. So I just put it right there like that, right? Okay. Well, look at that curve in the fault line there. Whoa, that's pretty interesting. Look at this where it kind of kicks back and goes back this way. Hmm, that's interesting too. It's a little different over on this spot, but once you do that and then you stand back, you take this back like this, and you look at Japan and the whole picture of Mare Oriental together, with this being the edge of the impact, you can see like an impact right here. Like it's just basically a part of Mare Oriental. Japan is. Here's the center, like right here, and this is just on the edge, and there you go. It puts it all together that way. That's how it all comes together. I think that's why they call that the Ring of Fire in North America, because it comes from the Ring of Fire. It all comes from the Pacific people. Somebody commented on one of my videos that it was a dumb video. I just deleted it anyway because it was kind of dumb anyway. But it was the information wasn't dumb. You know what I mean? It's not. This goes this way at one point in history of the Earth. It does. If this is the real Earth and this is what the shit looks like, that's what happens at one point. But you just got to understand the continents have moved all over. And I could do a different one in 10 minutes. I could have it set up a different way, and it would be right too. Somewhat, at least 90% of it. Maybe not 100% correct. I don't ever claim to be 100%, but well, I do on some things. Some things are just undeniable. You can't deny it. So, anyways, that's about it for that. Take it for what it's worth. The Earth is interesting, and that's undeniable for sure. I know I'm right about that. So have a great day, and the weather, people, is an interesting history book. It tells you the true history. I can see what the ancient people went through on this earth by looking at the weather. By seeing that weather over Africa and seeing it over North America, I can see that the continents have been through some chaos in the past, and I don't think that's far away in our future. I don't think it's that far off in our. I think it's on its way. I hate to say that. I ain't trying to scare anybody. I'm just saying, just keep your eyes open, be prepared for something, and also this United Nations thing that I keep commenting about. I'm dead serious about that. That's coming. We already are. Our government is not our government anymore. You know that, right? Congress has been. It's totally not even. It doesn't. We shouldn't even have it anymore. It's useless. Them guys are getting paid to not do shit. They ain't doing. Have they done anything in the? Think of one thing that they've done in the past 4 years. One thing that is worth. We're paying them tons of money to do what? What have they done? Same thing. Obama takes orders from the UN. Might as well just pay the UN all that money or something. I wouldn't. I would get out of there, but it's too late. The TPP was the handover, I do believe, to the United Nations. That's why the gay flag comes in. The rebel flag goes out because rednecks and rebels or whatever, they love guns. Like Duck Dynasty, they love guns, but they hate globalism. But the gays, they hate guns and they love globalism. They're just all about globalism. You know what I mean? That's just the way it is. So they take out the rebel flag and they bring in a new American gay flag. That is totally UN motive or MO right there. Because look at the front of the UN building. There's just flags everywhere. They know what the power of flags are. And so they criminalize the guys with guns, and then they make the people that the gays and everybody look like angels and just give them what they want. You know what I mean? So, and I have nothing against them doing whatever they want, but it's just I think it's gross in a way. But anyways, that's their life, not mine. So anyways, that's my point. I'm just saying, be prepared for something because something's coming. Right? It's going to be ugly. I think there's no UN country that has guns. Once the UN comes into the play, the guns will disappear, and they will be the only ones with guns. And they use peace bullets, so theirs are okay because they use peace bullets and peace bombs too. So watch out.